have Skyscraper available to them, as it was one of the first 4 bans out in the ban phase. So Border not being as staunchly defender-sided, but definitely a lot more frantic and a lot more open. And I think that actually plays into Netshoes Miners' playstyle pretty well. I think this is a smart second pickup, and if Skyscraper wasn't available. And like I said, we've seen them play on Chalet quite a lot through this LCQ. I think as long as you can tough this one out on Border, which is your own map pick, I'd say Chalet looks pretty promising for Netshoes Miners as that decider. You have it as a bit of a safety net. But to get there, you do have to get through Border. I think the way that Los have looked on their attacking side, the improvement that Connor talked about on the desk as well, they've made. They've had one of the best defensive ratings so far throughout the LCQ, and just improving that attack makes them even more lethal of a team. So we'll need to see that same level of improvement and that same level of leveling up here from Netshoes Miners on Border to try and keep in tow with Los, send us to map number 3, and prevent Los, as Connor said, from punching their ticket to Atlanta.
Thinking about Border in comparison to what we saw at the end of Oregon is where I also think Netshoes Miners have a little more hope than I think CDAPS may have represented. I think first half of Oregon, Los were dominant in every aspect of the game. Everything across the board, Los was winning. It was the entries, it was the late round engagements, it was the utility game, it was the time, it was their strategy. It was all going well. But in the second half, while Los did come away with the victory, Netshoes Miners picked it up in a big way. And it went from being so one-sided in terms of the entry game to 6-5, favoring Netshoes Miners by the end of the map. Now, entry isn't the end-all be-all of Siege, we know it. But we also know how important it can be on a map like this. And if Miners can keep riding that high that they had at the back half of Oregon, their success in the early round, I'm not saying Border is a done deal, but I'm saying they are going to have a decent chance at coming out swinging here, especially on the attacking side, where they can set the pace, set the rhythm, get in quick, and make their presence felt.
Absolutely. I think this is the perfect test for it to start things off with Netshoes on the attack and Los on the defense. I mean, this is both teams on their favored side statistically throughout the entirety of the LCQ and the qualifiers. So I think right now that this is shaping up for some fireworks early on, and I think it really does come down to those entries like you talked about, Jonah. The ability for Levy and Neskin to be able to be the difference makers and the round starters every round is going to be integral for Netshoes Miners to be able to prolong this to a map number 3. And like we talked about on Oregon as well, maybe it was Levy and Neskin starting rounds off hot, but the rest of the team unable to follow suit. This is going to need to be an entire team performance led by Neskin and Levy, but everyone needs to be contributing, to be able to be at their best, to push this to Chalet, give themselves a chance here as they've dropped the first map to get to Atlanta.
Waiting game, what we're seeing early from Miners, instead of that early explosiveness we maybe anticipated. Little mute bug, of course, making things a bit harder to see for the moment. But we did see a moment ago, STK waiting down below on the Nook, doing what the Nook does best. You have those frag grenades in pocket. Not only can you creep on in below and set yourself up for a surprise kill or two, but those frag grenades sent up to the ceiling above you can wreak havoc on any defender silly enough to sit on a soft floor. And it's Border. Almost everything is destructible. So someone like Cameraman, who's now feeling the pressure here, needs to be quite cautious where he moves next. Maya striking first, but a quick trade from STK as Dash is finished off means that we stay even in this 4v4 as we cross that 60-second mark.
Oh, there's the rappel in, but Loven will lose the fight, but he's the doc, so he's able to heal himself back up, but there go the nades from underneath. STK winning the engagement downstairs. Levy as well with the hard-hitting para 308. Eskin's taking a lot of damage in these engagements, but now it's just Maya and Dots to try and survive out for Los on their first defensive round. Maya looking for anyone on the entry from top east, but holding the flanks at the top of 90. Dots, the last man standing, grabs one into STK, but chewed up through the wall from Levy. And that is Netshoes Miners taking their first attacking round on Border.
They may have started slow, they may have started patient, but the moment those first few kills were found, it turned from 0 to 60 in just a matter of seconds. A flurry of kills found for Miners, and they just rolled through that defense with ease. Big play from Levy. That was the key, working their way into CCTV, dealing with Lobin, dealing with that position, getting the support from the nade down below, but then taking that opportunity to step in, deal with those two players on the rotate. Had that rotate between CCTV and Fountain, thankfully set up by the defense. Convenient for them, but also got them into a little bit of trouble. They just were not paying enough attention to that and didn't realize that the Brava had stepped in and done that much damage. So a good first attack to set the tone here on Border.
Seeing quite the operator lineup change here as we're dropping the Yana, we're bringing out the Gridlock. Nope, we're not bringing out the Gridlock. We're bringing out the Nomad. We've dropped the Nook. We've dropped the Yana. This is a very, very different lineup. We dropped the Brava as well on the attacking side. So, Choose Miners, once again, we saw it was about 14 unique operators played on either side for both of these teams on Oregon. Imagine that carousel is going to get a little bit longer of a list here on Border as well, as there's so much flexibility on this map. It's basically just a giant cardboard box with a bunch of inserts in it that can make just about any operator combo work. Seeing that here. No hard breach coming out on the side of Choose Miners on the attack, as this attack towards the downstairs bathroom and teller's bomb site doesn't really require hard breach at utility much at all. Entrance into CCTV took a long time around last round. Both doing a good job of prolonging the advancement from Choose Miners in terms of their entry into CC. In that final minute, like you said, Jonah, the collapse and the execution all came at once, and it all came in very strong for Choose Miners. Very successfully at that. Dash is able to get the first one onto Levy, as I was very concerned that was Lobin's, but no, Maya as well jumping in onto Basetto. Midi will make his entry into Archives, looking towards the small office, but will miss the evacuation of Cameraman. A good start for Los.
Yeah, they get on the board first, and they also do that damage twofold with both Levy and Basetto. Double Nitro Cell goes up and sends Midi and SDK sky high as well. Neskin just hoping to deny the Flawless, hoping that maybe someone can be found over on top east. Gets the down, but cannot get the finish. It's Dash to close it out, and it is Los with all 5, a Flawless here in round 2.
Well, you want a good response to losing the first round pretty handedly? I don't think you can do much better than a flawless round. Quite the roam topside. They take what they can get. They stand at a 5v3 and they all say, okay, this is a bathroom teller's defense, and we've gotten 2 picks by Armory and CCTV. Let's get the hell out. Let's get downstairs and spread out horizontally. Just waste even more time. And then Cameraman with a massive double Nitro Cell on the Armory floor, just eviscerating the attacking contingent of Choose Miners. And like you said, cleaning up over on top of the new balcony. Flawless round in response for Los, and now heading to Vent Workshop, not looking to run back Armory Archives as of yet. We've seen quite a handful of very interesting bomb sites being brought out in this LCQ. We saw a bedroom defense coming out on Skyscraper yesterday, seeing the possibility of a customs and supply defense here on Border. It has its potential. We shall see if it gets used in some desperation moments from either side, as it has been brought out a couple times in other LCQs as well. Certainly not the most favorable bomb site, but possibility remains that Los have been discouraged by their ability to hold on to Armory and Archives, and they may be dissuaded from running that back anytime soon. Mirror windows coming out, though. And support the CCTV hold, as it seems like Maya is getting into the action early, taking some damage on that Legion. Los, we've said this before, they are in a position to kind of take it on cruise control and try and post to the finish line to get to Atlanta. That is just not their style.
Some information here quite available for Miners, as you can see. However, this drone count starting to dwindle. Only 4 drones remaining for the attack. Only 45 seconds into the round. That is an unusually few a number of drones, and that's going to get them into trouble just like that. Even though there was a drone on Lobin's position, he's still able to step up, take care of Neskin, and shut down the Yana nice and early. Dash able to do the same thing, taking care of the Lion. Goes for 2 as STK will fall as well. And Miners crumbling here in round number 3 as well. Where did that round 1 success go? That's 8 kills now unanswered. They need to be careful because Loban may just strike once again, missing the fatal blow onto Midi, but an impact perfectly timed. There goes the Ash. Finally, Basetto will get on the board and Miners will find a single kill over the course of the last 2 rounds. A second kill now for Basetto, but it'll have to be a 1v3 miracle if Miners want to get on the board here with the second round.
Basetto, we've seen a pair 308 pull off quite the nasty 1v2 on Skyscraper yesterday in the semifinals. And Nitrocell goes out, I imagine, just to afford some visibility. Seeing all the shotgun holes come out as they're just playing from above, knowing that there's not really anywhere on the bomb site that Basetto can walk in and get a plant down without having to deal with some coverage from above. All 3 defenders playing topside off the bomb site itself. Basetto waiting for someone to swing a little wide, overexpose themselves. Smoke grenade goes directly up the archives hatch, and the plant will be initiated by Basetto. Here come 2 defenders flooding down, but as he pulls off, Cameraman once again an X factor for this team on the side of Los, and it's back-to-back rounds for this team.
Back-to-back decisive rounds for this Los team. Armory Archives didn't work too well, but Bathroom Tellers, Vents Workshop, no problem at all. Maybe because CCTV wasn't the crux of the entire defense? Hard to say because they still have been playing in that position and they've been finding so much success in that position ever since that very first round. Sure, they got themselves into a little bit of mess in round number 1 and Loban on the dock could not survive in that position for too long. But since then, Los have been comfortable. They've been thriving up top. And Miners have not been able to push through.
I think for that round for Netshoes Miners, again, running into the difficulties of those runouts topside, the response to that, the IGL mid-round call was, okay, hit site directly. Just going off the dead bodies that were strewn across ventilation and workshop at the end there. Those 2 quick picks that dropped it from the 5v3 to the 5v1. It seemed like there were 2 members of the attacking side who just said, okay, screw it. Basetto was close behind with the diffuser. So he could have been the 3rd member and possibly a difference maker on that flood into the bomb site. But it doesn't seem like it's the aversion strategy is going as well here on Border as it did on Oregon for these teams on the attacking side. Both of them employing a bit of an ignore strategy towards the roaming contingents, not opting to go for the full clear. On Border, it doesn't really work out because, again, it's a cardboard box with a bunch of inserts. There's so much soft destruction and verticality, like we just saw there, and Dash is going to start things off. And on a run out, the aggression coming out from Los. Again, if you instigate it, there's just so much soft destruction. If you try to rush towards site, all 3 defenders remaining in the previous round, they just play the objective from above. They didn't have to be on the bomb site. The vault in from Loban as well. Unsuccessful. So here we go. Los starting to get a snowball rolling.
And Nesca now desperate to find something here. Try to get this one back in Miners' favor, but it's just going to be so difficult with the aggression that Los are showing that they can maintain, and, well, the information that they've got at their fingertips. Speaking of, looks like Miners have some information of their own. Well-placed nade will change the game here, but yet another run out from Maya will bring things right back in Los's favor. It is still a Los round through and through. Midi and STK need to find a way to pull this one off, but even 90 seconds, 2 against 4 here on Border, this is going to take quite the clutch. Midi alone, STK isolated down below. They're going to have to try to isolate a couple of these 1v1 engagements, maybe get something done with the explosive power that Midi has in pocket. I mean, it's hard to say. Both STK, his nades are gone. They're going to have to do this one the old-fashioned way, and now that they group up, they might be able to take a 2v1 engagement, but they just might walk into a crossfire here. There goes Midi. Bullets from both sides will connect. It is just the Nook that remains. STK staring down the hallway, but Maya takes the heads-up gunfight and wins it anyway. It is Los with another dominant performance.
I think this is just the response from Los from round number 1. They saw how much sitting and waiting they were doing in response to Netshoes Miners just being allowed to sit outside of CCTV for so long. Nearly 2 minutes they sat outside on the balcony, and there was only 1 run out from the dock of Loban. in that first round. He got down and then finished off by the nade from underneath, and that was really it. That was the only run-out potential that Los brought in that first round, and it cost them the round. So now the adaptation is for Los for the last 3 rounds in a row is do not let them sit in place. Do not let them establish a position of power, get in their face as much as possible. And honestly, it's catching them off guard so much. We've seen so many runouts from the top of East Stairs that you would imagine there would be some sort of focus or some sort of drone in place to be able to provide that intel. And yet, a lot of runouts for free from the break door, from top east, and from the CC doorway. That's a harder one to get some intel on. But the other two, it's just common. It's round after round after round that there's a runout coming. It seems like Netshoes Miners unable to find the antidote to their solution or to their problem, which is sitting out on top of that CCTV balcony towards top east, towards the break room door, and towards the CCTV window for minutes on end. They need to hurry up the pace here and respond to Los's aggression. This is going to get out of hand very quickly. They do need to win this map just to get us to Chalet.
And their backs are against the wall here on map 2. This is not optional for them. If they want a chance to go to the major, not only do Miners need to win this second map, but they need to go to map 3 and come out swinging there too. That's what happens when you lose the first map in a best of 3. You just do not have as much freedom, as much flexibility as a team like Los. And clearly, a team like Los thrives when they know they can play a little loose, when they can play a little comfortable. They're going for aggressive, high-risk, high-reward runouts. And yes, it's working. Those risks are paying off. Would we see them go for the same plays, though, if they were trapped in a corner and they needed to win? Hard to say. It is Border, after all, and this is a map that does lean itself into that play style, but Los clearly playing it well, and it's working wonders at this point.
Well, Hyatt's going to go for the run out, as he has for the last 3 rounds in a row, and on the 4th time, the setup will shut him down. So a good start here in response, and another good start. Here we go. Netshoes able to predict, anticipate, and punish Los for the runouts. Start things off with a 2-man advantage within the first minute. Have to worry about Cameraman next inside of break room. Heavy about to make his entrance, and instead thinks twice of it. Drone will spot Cameraman, the Nitro Cell at the door frame. Levy well read once again. Everyone on Netshoes Miners anticipating the actions of Los, reading them like a book. It's providing the opportunity for Netshoes Miners to get back into this game in a hurry.
This happens with time. As Los keep bringing out this aggression, they're going to get predictable, and Miners finally showing that they are getting a bead on Los's plan. Cameraman tried to step up. Neskin said absolutely not. The long-range fight with the SMG-11 for Dash, that is not going to pay off either. Dropping away to the, I would say, safety of the site, but it's not safe anymore. Here comes Miners. They are pushing into this site. Dash gets lit up, but is still alive, winning that first fight with the Ash. But now relocating himself, moving around to the other side, maybe hoping to find an opening on the flank, but with 4 bodies up against 2, Miners can dedicate somebody to watching the metal stairs permanently. At least you'd think. STK, he's the one around the corner, and he will silence Dash for good. Lobin, the last player remaining, gets taken care of through the wall. Great adjustments there from Miners. Their second round on Border secured.
Man, it's quite the run of form there for Los. 3 consecutive rounds, so much aggression, so much success on runouts and early round picks, and yet, Netshoes Miners, they, like I said, they read it. Able to anticipate, able to react, and able to punish Los for those aggressive plays, those overreaches, and now, Netshoes Miners, off the back of a very strong round themselves, have the opportunity to tie the half. Things were getting a little out of hand. Los was starting to go on a run and build some momentum. Just like that, it's Netshoes Miners back in the ball game, looking like they can compete, be able to push this to a 3-3 half, which would be the most standard anticipated scoreline on Border. This seems like this is the way this game is going to go. There's going to be teams going on runs for a bit, and the team that has lost a couple rounds in a row is going to have to respond. Unfortunately, that has been Netshoes Miners for the majority of this game, getting snowballed upon and having to respond. We'll see if they can get off to a bit of a run here and garner some lead in map number 2. This is their map pick, it should be noted. Los, with their improvements on the attacking side that we saw on Oregon in map number 1 in this series, it does draw some concern that if Los are able to win this half 4-2, they could be in a very good position to, again, dial things back, just trade out rounds back and forth, walk away with the 2-0 victory, and send themselves to Atlanta. Choose Miners really do not want to let this last round onto Ventilation and Workshop get away from them, and as I say that, as I underscore the necessity of this round, Levy will be the first one to fall, a swing downstairs out of the supply window.
How is this still happening? It's the same strategy again and again, and last round, Miners could deal with it, but after a little bit of success, they decide to let things slip, and Dash is able to take advantage of an opening, getting the kill onto the Lion. Certainly going to do no favors for Miners' hopes in this round. STK looking to put the team on his back. An early entry here in Archives. Maybe a chance, but Lobin straight up denies it. Really good awareness there. The beauty of the Solus coming into play again. Knew exactly what was happening and knew exactly how to shut it down.
Yeah, you could see the knock invisibility cloak was on as soon as he entered into Archives, and SDK stood no chance. The immediate pre-fire from Loban, having identified the positioning of the knock inside of Archives. Lots of Legion mines getting hit now as well, as that is one problem for bringing out the IQ. Basetto is unable to see the electronics, because there aren't any electronics now in the IQ, or in the goo mines. Churn across the map without any way to detect them other than physically seeing them, or with a drone. Still on a 2-man disadvantage here for the attacking side of NetShoes Miners. Loban's pretty low on health, but he does have support from Cameraman over inside of Office. And should remind you, this is a Ventilation and Workshop defense. 2 minutes of this round have been solely focused just trying to gain entry into the top floor. They haven't really even done that above the bomb site itself. Armory's still on complete lockdown.
They're refusing to give up this top floor control, and again, if they can maintain it, and they have the right holes in the right place to deal with this. I mean, Miners, they will have to take this control as soon as they can. Midi knows this. Steps up. Neskin joins him. Maya does put up a bit of a fight. Oh, and from the other side, it's Cameraman 2. Basetto thought he saw an opening, but got denied, leaving Midi alone in a 1v3. 20 seconds, not even on the right floor of the map. Not looking like a winnable round, to say the least. He'll drop down. Diffuser out of pocket, needs to find the kills. And these defenders are staying just passive enough that it will not matter. Dash will make sure to find the kill to end the round. And in doing so, ending the half for Los 4-2 at the switch.
So an early swing, an early peak starts things off for Los, and then everyone kind of quiets down. Backs off a little bit. SDK reveals himself in the depths of Archives and gets pre-fired by the Solus. Unfortunate coalescence of operator utility there for SDK on the knock. Again, a 5v3 advantage. Your ability to trade that out to a 3v1 and a 3v0. You're in a good position, and like I said, for Los as well, at a 4-2 scoreline, you could trade rounds back and forth for the rest of this map. You'll walk away with a 7-5 victory. So right now, this is still looking very good for Los. And I choose Miners onto the defensive side now. This hasn't been their favored side, but the good news is Los's statistics, outside of this series specifically, they have not been the best attacking team in this last chance qualifier. There's still an opportunity here for NetShoes Miners to expose one of Los's weaknesses throughout this LCQ, turn it into an advantage for them, and get us to Chalet. But Los, very sneakily, 3 rounds away from Atlanta as it stands. Like I said, if you just trade rounds back and forth, you're ending at a 7-5. It's not going to be enough. We need to see the initiative coming out from NetShoes Miners, even when they're playing on the defense.
That's something that Los clearly showed us on their defense, that initiative, that desire to be the first ones to spring up and get the kill and do that early damage. Like you said, Flynn, Miners are going to have to show us the same thing. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt we're going to see that aggression. I mean, someone like Neskin, who is very successful in the entries, typically, at least throughout the LCQ as a whole, right? He's got the T5, he's got the weapon, he's got the mobility he needs to thrive here. Does he have the support from his team? That'll be the question. Is Midi in a position with that stim pistol to heal Neskin up if he works his way back into the building? Oh my! Lobin taking care of Neskin just like that. And so much for that aggression up top. Instead, maybe STK can do something down below. He has been spotted though, and he will have to be careful because Los, this pressure, it's overwhelming.
And STK fighting his demons downstairs. Can't find a target to hit, but shooting a lot of air. Unfortunately for him and the rest of his squad, they have all dropped across the map. 2v4 now for Midi and Bassetto, as I believe it was Bassetto who at least got one in this round to fight back. Man, couple of 3 armors. You still got 3 stim pistol shots on Doc's, on the Midi's stim pistol, so there is an opportunity here to take an engagement, lose some health, heal back up, jump into a new engagement, run out coming out, and like I said, there's the first one. Loses some health, but drops Lobin. The plant going down, though, from Dots. Inside of Archives, there goes the Nitro Cell, and it'll miss. It'll destroy the Osa Shield, but the vault onto the desk unsuccessful. Midi, recollapsing onto the bomb site, will drop Dots. But the plant was successful, and you got Grim Bees hanging around as well from Cameraman. Well, identify the location of Midi as he rushes his way back into Archives, constantly searching for the member inside of Office. The turn to the corner towards Radio Window, and he will be downed and finished off. Dash will close things out, and it's the first round going in the favor of Los in the second half. 2 rounds away now from Atlanta.
Netshoes Miners did put up a bit of a fight there in the end and brought it back to nearly even by the time that diffuser went down, and had that Nitro Cell connected, had that shot on towards that, well, that Archives window landed, it would have been a very different story, but Los had established such a nice advantage. 3 kills right off the bat that Miners didn't have an answer for. And that is exactly how Border should be played on the attack. Just relentless pressure that even a powerful defense that fights their way back cannot fight their way all the way back. So 5-2. Netshoes Miners forced to pivot here. We're not going to see Armory and Archives again for now. It'll be Bathroom Tellers, their next site of choice, looking to rely on that top floor control, as you can see here.
Yeah, I think for Netshoes Miners, just employing a little bit of what we saw from Los on their defense. They lost the first round Armory Archives, and they were able to send 3 rounds in a row, starting with a Bathroom Tellers defense that was their first success on the map. So, Netshoes Miners, they dropped the first round on Armory and Archives with a lot of deaths across the map that didn't really involve much of the bomb site. Very similar story to what we saw in round number 1 for Los. Possibility still remains here for Netshoes Miners to replicate a lot of what we saw from Los in the first half. It's, again, you're just running out of time for Netshoes Miners to show a similar kind of presence, a similar kind of desire, a similar kind of ability in this series. Only 2 rounds away, 2 mistakes away from losing your opportunity, losing out in the grand finals of the LCQ. Come so close and yet still be so far away would be heartbreaking for a team that has had such a miraculous turnaround so far from their group stage play to how they've played in the last few days in this last chance qualifier. And a marvel to see, but it might just not end up being enough as Los look to be in the driver's seat, look to be well in control of this series. It is going to take another evolution for Netshoes Miners to get on their level.
Midi, the first one to go down here, actually. Is that another nade from below? Could have been Lobin from outside the window throwing that one in long range. Midi will be recovered, so not the biggest deal at the end of the day, but low HP for the remainder of this one, and a great shot from Dots onto Levy. That'll make things even worse for the hopes of Miners here. They've got some info to work with. They have a mirror window to play off of, but they're losing bodies left and right. Maya, Lobin for 2. SDK, the last player standing in a 1v5, trying to keep Miners in this fight, but for how much longer? Not much more, at least in round number 8. A flawless round for Los. They are ready to put this series away.
Match point and series point for Los. Atlanta point. And they've got a lot of opportunities now, a lot of wiggle room to make some mistakes, like we saw in Oregon, get off to that big lead, let Netshoes Miners back in a little bit because you have the buffer room, and then close it out. A flawless round at that as well for Los to try and put an exclamation point on this. And I said we were running out of time to see the Netshoes Miners we've seen in the quarters and semifinals of this last chance qualifier. Well, we're sure as hell out of time now, boys. It's now or never. It's do or die on the precipice of being knocked out with only winning 6 rounds across 2 maps in the last chance qualifier finals. Los, similar to what Netshoes Miners have done. Los's group stage performance was also not the most impressive, but it seems like this is a return to form from what we can expect from Los based on their entirety of 2023, the calendar year, their SI performance, narrowly missing out on Copenhagen, now here in the LCQ finals for the Stage 2 major to go to Atlanta. This is more the Los we expected to see in group stage. They have turned it around since then in this LCQ. Just like Netshoes Miners, it's nice to see for Netshoes Miners. Backs against the wall time. There's no more mistakes to be made. This is the moment where you have to start clutching up and take it one round at a time, all the way to overtime.
Well, no better time to find your stride. I mean, as you head potentially into the Atlanta Major, talk about the time where you want to feel your rhythm, where you want to finally get into that headspace, that winning mindset that we clearly see that Los have right now. Things are clicking for them. And they are very close to putting this one away. Netshoes Miners, we know they've got something on the defensive side. We've seen it before, but here on Border, it just doesn't seem to exist. It's nowhere to be found because once again, Los will strike first on the attack. Baseto is the first to fall. There are just 4 defenders remaining to try to hold off this onslaught that Los have been sending their way. Neskin is getting lit up. The information game from Los is there. Maya pinpointing another defender, but cannot get the job done. Neskin lit up, still alive, but their chances continuing to look slimmer and slimmer by the minute.
Neskin, all it takes is one of those shots from the cameras to be able to put him on the floor. Trying to get back and get healed up from Midian. He will. So now the health advantage slowly swings back into the favor of Netshoes Miners. There goes the Adrenal Surge. We're going back and forth with the healing again. The swing from Midi devastating outside of the CCTV door, but the pushing down below from Loban, the Fink LMG. Only good for one as they healed up Neskin, but Cameraman swings into action. Down to the 2v2. Levy and Neskin, the 2 heroes from Team 1 back in Mexico City to try and prolong this series, but it doesn't appear to be happening as Levy gets decapitated by the Bearing 9. The plant is going down from Dots. It's just Neskin alone trying to play off the intel from that bulletproof camera, swinging towards the half wall, but it won't matter! The supernova from Dots will send Los to Atlanta!
NIP, FaZe Clan, W7M, and now Los. Guaranteed as your 4 Brazilian teams representing the region at the Atlanta Major in just a few weeks' time. You see it, everyone ecstatic that they have made it to this far, and they will get a chance to compete on the international stage against the best in the world. And they'll have a chance to fight it out there. I mean, you just see the pure happiness on their faces. You know how hard they worked for this. They had to take care of what, Black Dragons. They had to take care, or whether it was Team Liquid for Los that they took down. Then it was Keyed Stars. They took them down.